Welcome to the Iconoblast Podcast. This is the show that takes a look behind the public facades of famous icons to show you why you can never take anything at face value. So am I looking at the wide? Am I looking at my camera? I don't even know what's going on anymore.
I have no idea.
You know how to do it. You start the first sentence in the wide, and then you go to your single.
Oh yeah, but you guys were still reacting to the wide shot.
We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, you can't see.
Yeah,
I was
true.
Yeah. Come on.
Okay.
Okay.
Iconoblast, we put the past on blast. Hit 'em with the truth, with things you never knew. Nobody is safe, no thing to place. Got Joel and Coop with history in your face. Iconoblast.
Presented by GhostBed.com. This is a very special bonus episode where we are continuing the story of Miyamoto Musashi from the last episode, which also means that I'm sitting in the wrong seat, but...
I'm Joel Benner, and this is John Devilman.
that's...
I'm John Devilman.
Welcome back, everybody. We've already been drinking since the last episode.
Yeah, but we're going to try to bang out another one.
This is going to be a shit show, so
Devilman's going to host again?
buckle up and enjoy the ride, and Devilman is going to host again. So
I wrote the fucking thing. I spent a week writing these episodes.
I should vacate my position and pass it off to the person in charge.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
You
I
did
humbly accept.
You
did
could
a
just
great
read it
job
yourself
last
if you
time.
want.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Gigi. Honestly, Gigi, they've all been very supportive. And I have to say, your fans, I love how supportive they were on the Samuel Zara episode. And when I joined them for the chat, on the live chats, they've always been so welcoming.
They're fucking amazing.
I hope to get to know them better throughout the months, throughout the years.
From the sounds of it, you're going to get to know some of them a whole lot better.
Okay, I won't mention any names, but
Well, this is all fan service. You got to service the fans, John.
thank you for inspiring me to go forth and ask these boys if I can have an episode of my own. So this will be the second part of Miyamoto Musashi,
Okay.
Unrivaled Under the Heavens, Part 2.
Sick.
So, as you recall, after the end of the last episode,
Yeah, quick recap.
Miyamoto Musashi killed someone at 13, killed someone at 14, killed someone at 15, joined a war at 16, which was on the losing side, but still killed a heap of people, then went to the largest fighting school in the capital city of Japan, challenged the people who ran it, killed them, then killed every single member of that school.
Well, killed 5 people.
Killed 5 people.
He could have killed them all if he wanted
Ultimately killed 108 people. So,
to. And now here we are.
here we are.
So the last thing he did was he took the zip line down, chopped off 5 heads, and then killed the master.
Okay, this is a Joel theory that he took a zip line.
He either snuck through and slowly killed them one at a time in the snow, or he used the zip line.
We need to preface that as a Joel theory so people know what is historically accurate and what is going on in your mind, which isn't. Well, which
They didn't
is
have grappling
rarely
hooks back then?
historically accurate.
No, they did. Ninjas use grappling hooks. We talked about ninjas.
Yeah.
So maybe he did, though.
Well, yeah, exactly. Maybe
Very
he
well
did.
As
Yeah.
impossible as it may seem, he is an impossible man with impossible skills.
I'll grant you that.
So he could have used a zip line at some point in his life.
At some point in his life.
And it could have been
Okay, true.
when he killed Judge Hononesa.
Drink. Already drink.
I love
Let's,
you guys.
hey, let's start this episode off. Let's do it right.
Okay, I know the zip line thing is stupid, but it could have happened.
So, in a matter of days, word of Musashi's exploit had begun to travel the length of Japan.
You know something else that does a whole lot of traveling?
What's that?
What?
Packages shipped by ShipStation.
Oh, wow.
We all have passions that push us to do big things in life, like selling your crafts online, all out of a deep, burning love for logistics and order management? No.
No. I have a burn in my
No,
garage,
not
but
at
it's
all.
not from...
Okay, so no one's passionate about that part, and that's why there's ShipStation.
Oh.
They make it easy to manage your orders and get your products out the door so you can get back to doing what you really love, which is growing your business.
I've got a little burn in my butthole right now.
Which is, Joel, we're in the middle of an ad read.
Sorry.
So that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do right now is grow our business And I hope to God that it's working.
And that
Ship
grow in your
station.
butthole, and that grow in your butthole is shitting all over it.
Well, that's something.
Yeah.
Like, I would, if there's a lot of people out there with the burning little butt, and with ShipStation, I can use it to send Tums to everyone.
Okay. All right.
Way to-
All right. You
Way to
saved
wait around.
that.
Yeah.
Saved that at the last second. Well, I was looking at the ad read.
Okay, continue.
Beautiful.
Unlike some people here, I'm trying to do my job.
I'm gonna send grappling hooks using fucking.
ShipStation is the number one choice of online sellers. You can
Devilman's
import
parents.
your order.
Sorry, go ahead. Go. Sorry. Shh.
ShipStation is the number one choice of online sellers. You can import orders from any sales channel, ship with any carrier using ShipStation's deeply discounted rates, and automate just about any shipping task. No wonder 100,000 plus online sellers use ShipStation. No matter how you sell, Shopify, Etsy, or your own website, ShipStation funnels all of your orders into one simple interface that you can manage from anywhere, even your cell phone.
You can do it all from your cell phone.
Yep, all from your phone, which is what I do damn near everything from. You'll even get access to amazing discounts with major carriers, including UPS, FedEx, and USPS. Easily compare carriers and choose the best solution every time. With ShipStation, small businesses can now access the same rates usually reserved for Fortune 500 companies without contracts or commitments. Ship more in less time for a lot less money. Just use our offer code ICON to get a 60-day free trial. That's 2 months of free, no-hassle, stress-free shipping. Just go to ShipStation.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and type ICON, I-C-O-N. That's ShipStation.com and enter the offer code ICON.
Yeah.
ShipStation. Make ship happen.
You
shit
guys
happen.
have your fucking own.
Yes, that's why it's so dope.
Yeah.
But I actually think it's a good product because, like Coat Wolf,
Yeah.
a production company back
Right.
in the day in California, if we
Yeah,
had this,
I heard
back
of it
then,
once before.
Yeah, we have clothing,
bell.
like the chainsaw necklaces. We have
Yeah.
all kinds of product that we sell, and if we had this back then, it would have been so fucking easy.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they deal with
It's
all
a
the
pain
bullshit
in-
that you don't
pain
have
in the
to
ass to mail.
have
I even had
deal
to do
with.
it a couple times. Like we had
Yeah.
like 35 chainsaw necklaces, and I had to go to the post office. I had to all the shit in my hands, and I had to
Yeah.
do one at a time, and they'll just take
fuck
care
your
of all that
life.
shit for you.
No,
yeah.
no. Okay, now let me just ask this at the beginning of the episode. Are we still doing the game that we only drink if something is culturally insensitive?
You have to be culturally insensitive if you want to take a drink. yeah.
Okay, well then, as host, I will now enact the rule that you cannot be culturally insensitive on purpose just so that we can all drink.
In your face, Joel.
I've never done that. You guys accused me of that, but I never did that.
And with that, we'll start Miyamoto Musashi Part 2. Like I said, in a matter of days, Musashi's exploits had traveled the length of Japan. The Ronin samurai who had bested the Yoshioka... What?
The Ronin.
Yeah, the Ronin samurai who had bested the Yoshioko and slain 100 men, becoming a century killer. As you
What does
can
that mean?
imagine, 100.
Oh, copy that. Sweet.
As you can imagine, every swordsman wanting to test their skills or make a name for themselves was showing up at any moment along his travels, issuing a challenge or setting up an ambush. He didn't take showers for fear of being attacked unaware, and as a result, smelled like John McAfee after paying some 17-year-old prostitute from Belize to brick on his chest.
Yeah, that's my excuse too.
As the legend of Miyamoto Musashi grew, another rising dragon's name danced off the lips of people throughout the country. That of Sasaki Kojiro, who went by the fighting name of Ganryo, or Large Rock Style.
Gonorrhea. Gonorrhea.
He also bore the name the Demon of the Western Province.
Another person named a demon.
Another one.
Can't drink unless you're
You're right. God damn it. The first reliable account
But you
of
can't do it on purpose.
Sojiro's life states that in 1610, because of the fame of his school and his many successful duels, including one in the late 1500s when he fended off 3 opponents with a war fan.
Wait,
a
you went...
fan? Yes, because
That's
it's right. It's
racially
fancy as fuck.
That's a racially insensitive drink.
You know it.
Do you want to take a drink or not?
Come on, chill.
Well, I do, but I mean that's just
You're
playing
you're
it
stretching.
fast and loose with the rules.
We did a rule. Nah,
I drank.
it's too late. I'm not gonna do it.
It was insensitive to me.
Listen, this guy took 3 samurai down with a fucking fan.
That's pretty sweet.
Joel, just say the N word so we can all drink.
No, that was the new rule that you guys cared so much about. I can't do it on purpose.
All right, fine. Say
Let
it
me
all
go
the-
back.
Say it all the time outside of the show.
Let me go back. This guy was such a G. That's 3 samurais because, by the way, he's from a prestigious school. He's already renowned. He's got clout.
The Limp Bizkit School of Arts.
I like that. It's good.
But in Japanese, it sounds cool. What is it?
Well, no, he's just called Gunneria. His school,
Gonorrhea.
Gonorrhea.
Can we drink for that?
That's what I drank before that you guys
Sure.
said no.
All
Oh,
right,
now
you
it's
can't
okay.
drink. You can't drink. Me and Kate, we owe you one.
Just paying the debt.
The School of
So-
Limp Bizkit, the guy killed people with fans. He killed 3 samurai with a fan.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, no,
Do you
totally
think it's
is.
true?
No, it's totally true. It's been verified.
Is it a metal fan?
The war fans were made of metal. It was actually, I was talking to you about this earlier. The war fan, I looked it up because I thought the war fan would be a big deal. I was like, how can someone fight with a fucking fan?
Yeah.
It wasn't a widely used thing, but
Because
it's weird, right?
yeah.
Now imagine you're a fucking samurai with a sword and some piece of shit beats you with a fucking fan.
Oh, that'd be shitty.
Yeah.
But also, for the guy with a fan, how rad would that be?
True. Yeah, that's like no scoping in video games.
Exactly. There's
Yeah.
a
I mean,
whole
hasn't-
there's a whole mythology behind it.
Katana from Mortal Kombat has been doing that for at least like
Exactly.
20 years now,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
So, I
Exactly.
mean, no big deal.
It's
Yeah, but
it's
she's
not
if
a
a
god.
girl can do it.
But she's a god. She trained for like 800
Katana's
years.
not
or
a
something.
god.
yeah.
Did she?
So the mythology behind that is that a Tengu,
Yes.
No, she's not.
she's not a god.
Yeah, she is. She's like 400 years old.
No, she's not.
Yeah,
doesn't
She's
make-
she's the daughter of she's the daughter of Shao Kahn.
And Shao Kahn's
Boom.
like 800 years old.
Shao Kahn. It doesn't matter.
Age
they
doesn't
have
make
they
you a
have
god.
a different.
Well, god or not, she's immortal.
Not immortal. She
In
could
Mortal
die.
Kombat, the
If
film,
you-
I
she's
have,
400.
I have literally ripped her
Fatality
head
her.
off
Yeah,
with
fatality.
Sub-Zero.
Yep.
Yeah, but everybody in the game. But she is an immortal.
Holy shit, they're all immortal. Sorry, John.
It's all right because, as it turns out,
Katana
with this
trained
story,
fans
Miyamoto
400
Musashi
years.
is immortal, and that's a story I'm trying to tell.
Well, do your
Continue.
best.
I've been trying.
Welcome to Coop's world.
Welcome to the jungle. Okay. So, because of his fame and renown, Sasaki was honored by Lord Hosokawa Tadaoki as the chief weapons master of the Hosokawa fief in the northern of Kyushu. Unlike Musashi, this is where they differ, Kojiro was a man of refined tastes, accustomed to finery and opulence. He was a student of a prestigious school. He didn't train in the fucking mountains against a fucking tree trunk.
Chump.
He was under a renowned master before he formed his own school.
Yeah.
His weapon was a particularly long katana called a nadochi. These particular swords are so big that they can't be drawn from the waist, and they were usually worn on the back or were carried by a servant who would draw it for you. His particular sword he named the laundry drying pole. Coincidentally, this is also what Samuel Azar called his penis.
A baculum.
A baculum.
Yeah.
What he
A penile bone.
a penile.
Also, for the major nerds in the audience, that's what Sephiroth's sword was from Final Fantasy VII.
Coop, yes. What he did have in common with Musashi was his uncommon height, somewhere around 5'11", and his excellence with the sword.
His excellence with the sword.
He developed a technique called the turning swallow cut, said to be so quick that it could strike a bird from the air. And basically what
That's
this strike
sick.
was is most samurai, they would start from the top or from either side. His strike, he would come kind of in a U shape. So he would strike down and then immediately back upward. So I wouldn't say he would intentionally miss with the first strike. If it hit, great. But if it didn't hit, he would always come right back up.
Ready to redirect back
And it
into
was so quick.
Like an upside down axe kick.
Yes.
Because an axe kick goes up and then down.
I've done an axe kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a reverse axe kick.
It would, yeah,
with a sword
exactly.
instead of a foot.
Yeah, that's actually a very apt comparison.
Thank you.
And the other thing is, since the Nodochi was, I think, a foot longer than a regular katana, he already had the reach advantage on most people. To be able to,
a katana blade is like roughly
2 feet.
60,
I thought it was
69
like roughly
inches.
like 3 feet long. I honestly
Nodochi
have,
is 3 feet.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
a Nodachi is shorter than I imagined.
Yeah.
Sephiroth's a fucking liar.
That's about 5 feet, his sword. But it's ridiculous as well. Like, the thing is, these swords, like I said, they would have to be carried by retainers. The retainer would draw it for you. You wouldn't, or you couldn't have this on your waist. You couldn't just wear it out.
A 5-foot sword.
Well, it'd be dragging on the
yeah,
ground all
there-
the time.
there could
which is
be-
something
there could
I
be
struggle
ones that
with
want-
every day. Thank God for duct tape.
There are also
His left leg is limp.
There are also reports that these swords were used as to take out the legs from horses.
Oh, that's similar to the the William Wallace sword.
Right. Well, it's like an English
Like a-
longsword or a claymore or something
Yeah, a
like
claymore.
that. Yeah, yeah.
I don't think William Wallace was using a claymore, but similar.
He had a low hang.
Oh, for sure, but that's something completely different.
His sword was. He was packing.
Sorry, go ahead, John.
No. I'm trying to find my place. I was just like, go ahead so I can find my place.
So yeah, William Wallace's cock.
Do you think that William Wallace had a bigger penis than
Yasuke?
Yasuke? Yeah.
Drink.
Oh, yep. Is it? I mean, I'll drink anyway. I think you're just making airs now.
No, because I know where Joel was going with that.
Now we have Sasaki Kojiro.
Sasaki.
Sake, yeah. Musashi probably heard the talk as he trudged along,
Yeah.
painting the countryside red with the violence of his craft, like a deranged Bob Ross, while he continued to seek out stronger and stronger opponents.
Just a happy little mistake decapitating that villager right there.
Didn't mean to brain you. Just wanted to knock you out, but hey, everything happens for a reason. Another one of Musashi's amazing duels was with someone named
Musashi.
Shishido Baiken, who was master of the chain and sickle. This formidable weapon consisted of a sickle with a chain attached
told
to
me
the
about
bottom
this.
of the handle. Yes, I did. And the end of the chain was a small weight with a metal ball, small enough to fit in the palm of your hand and heavy enough to crush a man's skull.
Don't I know it?
Baiken would use the chain to keep his opponents at bay, crushing bodies with the weight of the ball if someone were to enter his kill zone. The chain could also be used to wrap itself around swords and disarm combatants who would then be left defenseless as the sickle cut them down. Musashi had taken the training his father had given him with the jitte and drew his wakizashi and katana at the same time, improvising a stance that would allow him to wrap up the chain so he could close the distance and then use his katana to chop the other man down.
So he just
Sick.
improvised that on the spot?
He had been using his wakizashi at
Wakizashi.
times but it hadn't been in the same way that it had been now. Before, and still afterward, the wakizashi could be used almost like a shuriken, which you mentioned in the previous episode, to throw at people, distract them. And while they were trying to bat, say, the wakizashi out of the way, that would leave them open for a gut cut or a slice to the forearm or something like that. And even afterward, in Musashi style, that's still a thing. He hadn't thrown that away. But this point in particular was basically when he kind of cemented his style, when he kind of came full circle and realized the flow of everything and used it in a lethal environment against a lethal opponent.
So before that, was it, do you know if it was ever common for somebody to fight with a weapon in their left and right hand?
We'll get to that.
Oh, okay. I'm getting too far ahead. All right.
No, that's
I'm ready.
fine.
I'm
I
ready.
love it because these are the questions that people are going to want to know, and I'm just letting you all know. We'll get to that eventually. But this fight with Baiken was the beginning of Musashi developing his two-handed sword technique, Nitten Ichi-Ryu, which means...
Yeah, itchy.
Which means... which
Sorry,
means drink.
John.
Which means drink, I guess.
Itchy, yeah.
I'm so itchy.
I've got a little itchy
I
under
got
the
crabs
back of
from
my
fucking
testicles.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Don't do a protection.
Joel's just here to supply the Austrian pronunciation
I love it.
of all of these Japanese words.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Itchy.
This was the beginning of Musashi developing his two-handed sword technique, Nitten Ichi-Ryu. Two
Nitten
heavens
Ichi-Ryu.
as one style.
Two heavens as one style. Yeah.
Which is still considered by many strategists to be a quantum leap in martial arts because no one had ever thought, hey, I've got two hands. Why not use two fucking swords?
So Musashi was the Scott Bakula of sword fighters.
Who's Scott Bakula?
Quantum Leap. He's the lead actor in Quantum Leap. Come on, guys.
Yeah, but he was just time traveling. He didn't invent anything cool.
I actually have to say I was in an episode of NCIS New Orleans with Scott Bakula.
Holy
yeah?
shit.
That's how I met
How's he
LeVar
looking these
Burton.
days?
This is the most starstruck I've ever felt.
He was right above me talking about how I died, and I just wanted to be like, Scott Bakula, I think you're great.
Is he still handsome?
He is. He's old.
He's
aged
Scott
very
fucking
well.
Bakula.
He aged
Of
very
course
well.
he's handsome.
Some people get real
but
ugly
hey,
when they get
you know
old.
what, Coop? Chill the fuck out.
Sorry.
Joel, pull it back about 20%. Let me just tell you about how amazing LeVar Burton is.
Please do.
Because LeVar Burton directed that episode. And everything that you'd imagine LeVar Burton to be, in the positive, is true. He's a hero of mine. And upon meeting him, I realized that everything I ever could imagine about him was true. He is the best. He is absolutely genuine and positive and grateful and humble and great. And this is my love letter to LeVar Burton. Thank you so much for making me feel special.
Okay, but can we get back to you're ruining a moment in time when people switch from one sword to two?
You can cut that out.
No,
It's up to you.
But I mean, honestly, LeVar Burton's going to be pretty humble because he spent a lot of time getting whipped on roots.
Oh, no, please cut that out. Please,
Drink.
please. No. Yeah, fuck yeah. No, but we'll drink, but please cut that out anyway. That's horrible.
Cheers.
Did Kunta Kinte not get the shit whipped out of him in roots?
Real talk, the first time I met him, he had a Kunta Kinte shirt on. And I didn't know what to think about that.
I mean, do you comment on that or?
You don't. I didn't. I was like, oh yeah, cool. I love you, LeVar. You're great.
Yeah, I wouldn't know exactly how to handle that.
Devilman. This guy you're talking about?
Musashi had taken the training that his father had given him with the jite, drew his wakizashi and katana at the same time, improvising a stance that would allow him to wrap up the chain so he can close the distance, and then use the katana to chop the other man down. This was the beginning of Musashi developing his two-handed sword technique, Nitten Ichi Yu, two heavens as one style,
Itchy. Yeah.
Thank you, Arnold.
which is still considered by many strategists
Problemo.
to be a quantum leap in the martial arts because no one had ever thought, hey, I've got two hands. Why not use two swords?
So that was actually that's a real thing you're saying.
Yeah,
You told me this when we were hammered the other night,
yeah.
and it seemed like a really big deal.
Yeah.
A huge jump in technique for the samurai and for
Okay.
everybody.
All right. So for those of you who would
I think this is important to talk about.
No, well, okay. Well, for those watching who are like, yeah, it makes sense. They always wore two swords on their hip.
They had two swords on them the whole fucking time.
Here's
for
why.
45,000 years.
Here's why.
Well, maybe not that long, but
We know. Here's why. Okay, so each sword had a different purpose. Okay, so the wakizashi was used usually in close combat. If you were going to swing a katana, it could get stuck on a wall, get stuck on a beam, or
pull out
something
your
like that.
secondary.
You pull out your short sword, so that you could still fight, but you wouldn't be hindered by the environment. The long sword, the katana, you usually used in outside situations because with the two hands, okay, and I believe you actually mentioned something about this in the Yasuke episode. I believe, I might be mistaken, where you said that the katana wasn't a big deal. The katana's fucking huge. The katana, as far as like
No, I think
physics
what
go,
Coop said was that it wasn't very...
a good sword.
it wasn't a good weapon, yeah.
Okay.
in comparison to other swords throughout history,
And let me just talk on that for a bit. And this is where we're going to diverge. You're wrong.
Ooh,
Those
those are fighting words. I got
Well,
your
look.
back.
Let's talk about English swords.
I don't need backup.
At the time,
I can handle this.
at the time, most of the swords of the English were usually used, and this is real, to bludgeon people. They had suits of armor at the time. So you were bludgeoning people with this. It was a heavy object to beat people down who were wearing armor. Then, if you could find a hole in the armor, you would stab them through it.
You would need a thrusting weapon.
Right, why you have the point of the sword. The idea that a sword, like a long sword or a claymore or anything like that, when people are wearing armor, is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
the claymore, yeah, that's the thing
Well,
that
hang on.
blows up the enemy.
We're sparring right now, Joel.
Okay, now let's
the
think-
ref.
let's talk about the sword of the katana. The katana, already folded more times so it would be more durable than a regular sword of the English variety, has a curve which makes it stronger than the English variety.
Well, it makes it a better cutting weapon. The additions of the multiple folds in the steel,
Very much so.
from my understanding, the folds in the steel were to try and get out the impurities
Exactly
of
right.
the steel itself,
True.
which ultimately made it a fairly brittle blade.
Not at all.
If you're cutting against bare flesh, it can work very well.
The armor at the
it's
time-
different tools for different
Combat.
jobs ultimately.
Right. And a lot of the samurai at the time were actually impressed when they learned about English blades that had two sides with a cut. But what you're not realizing is that the curve of the blade was placed behind the hilt. Therefore, when you swung with the hilt, it's the centrifugal force of your swing added to the curve of the blade helped the cut, which exacted a deeper wound than if you were to use a heavier, more blunt blade, like the English weapons at the time. I had a physics professor who argued that for at least that time period, the katana sword was one of the greatest achievements of physics at that particular time. And I still agree with him to that day. It's with everything, because the blade is actually placed behind the swing. So
What does that mean?
So the hilt would be let's say you have your hands...
The hilt's the fucking handle, right?
Right, you have your hilt here. The sword curves behind the hilt.
From the beginning.
Right.
Okay.
So that just adds to the extra oomph of your swing, which gives it greater momentum, which gives
Instead
it
of
greater force.
the alternate that's straight out
Because
of the hilt?
strength equals momentum or speed plus force.
Okay.
So all of these are added on top of the katana, plus being a sharper blade because it's folded so many times, it makes it that much more of a lethal weapon.
So if there's a break in the armor, it's going to kill you.
Well, now...
It could probably cut through the blade in the armor.
Now...
Cut through the armor,
Cut
depending
through
on the armor.
Cut through the armor, yes.
place that weapon in the hands of any jackass and what is going to become more lethal, something that requires a higher amount of skill to use, or something that is effectively a pointy stick.
So as far as the masses...
We're talking about necessarily anything right now.
Yeah,
We're talking
which
about-
brings me back around to...
Isn't this a duel? We're talking about a duel.
The
Yeah, no.
stick being the most lethal weapon in human history.
So if we're talking about, if we're comparing a stick to a katana, once again, we'll go back into it all depends on who wields it. And that's why we'll go back into Musashi
Why Musashi was so goddamn dangerous.
and his boken. Musashi had taken the training his father had given him with the jite and
What's
drew
the
his...
jite?
It's the short J.
Yeah,
Copy.
the
Actually,
hook-
let me just go into that.
hooked
So
polearm.
Musashi, when he was fighting the sickle and chain guy,
Yeah.
he took the training with the jite, and that's what made him think of pulling out his wakizashi. Because the jite was basically a defensive weapon that sometimes you would use with a sword. The jite would be used to catch a sword and then turn it away so you could strike with the other sword. And that's how his father, Munase, was able to beat Yoshioko Kimpo and become unequal under the heavens.
Okay.
So,
So the jite was the hooked sword. It wasn't a polearm.
have you seen you know
Like
for
Cabal
the-
from Mortal Kombat?
No, that's way long. So the jite was actually far shorter than that. If you think of Raphael from the Ninja Turtles,
Size.
Oh, it was like a sai?
it's like a sai with one of the sides cut off. So it's just like a half sai.
Oh.
It's like a J. It's like this.
But the handle's on the bottom of
Oh,
the J.
so
Right.
the hook's on the bottom. I was picturing a polearm this
No,
whole time.
yeah,
I
no.
thought it was the like
And-
like a
and
hook bill or
either the
something.
hook
When
or
I
at
when I
the
go
top.
back
Yeah.
when I go back and I think about it, I really am I admire that because it's such a it's not a long weapon. It's not very long. And the catch of the hook isn't very long either. So you have to be very exact with how you're going to catch the blade, especially if it's a defensive technique. At the same time, though, it just like the sai, it's got a little point at the end. It's not sharp like a blade, but you can definitely
Stab somebody.
You
Yeah,
could
you
stab
can
somebody
stab
with it.
with it.
Yeah, and even if you're not stabbing somebody, you could hit somebody with it. You could jab an eye. You can hit a vital area, which it calls in the block. And this once again goes in martial arts. If you hit a place and someone
But I can't let this go.
Yeah.
So, did we decide that the stick is more beneficial for an army, but a master would use a katana? Is that what the end of the battle was?
Depends on who's wielding it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, ultimately
But like,
I
if you
think
have
the-
3,000 men that are untrained, give them all a bunch of sticks, they probably have a better chance.
No, they're gonna die.
But I mean, like just to get the
against
best out
what?
of your
If-
army.
if you want to get
Or
the,
if you have
wanna get the,
5 masters, give them all katanas. They'll kill way more people than if they had sticks.
well, if you put 5 masters with katanas against 20 people with
Sticks,
spears or sticks,
they're gonna the masters are gonna win.
Chances are,
I don't know. I would say that the mob with a bunch of sticks would ultimately it. Okay, so at the end of the day,
No.
it depends
Okay.
on the
Coop,
the
you've
fight
been-
of the
no,
person.
Coop, let's go back to your training. You were in the army. Mm-hmm. How many of your brothers and sisters were truly trained to put their lives on the line? And I'm not trying to disparage any of your friends. No. What I'm trying to say is,
I see exactly what you're saying.
it comes to a point where you're like, fuck, I'm about to die, and I'm scared as shit.
And the last line of defense for somebody in that situation, once they've run out of ammo, is to turn their rifle into a stick.
Yeah.
And hit somebody with it.
Yeah.
But if you have, so it really comes down to numbers, like in a mass fight or a army versus army, it'll come down to numbers, most likely. The amount of courage that, the amount of cohesion amongst the unit.
Cohesion's good. Yep.
And then once it comes down to a one-on-one fight, that's really where the skill's gonna come in. So if you have some random jackass with a stick against some guy some master with a katana, the master with the katana is going to win. If it is a single master against 10, maybe even 5 guys with sticks,
Fair fight.
it'd be a roughly fair fight depending on the...
It depends on them. If they all attack all at once, they'll probably win, but they're not going to.
Need I remind you all?
It's going to be the amount of fight in each person. Because if you have one sheep with a katana...
That sounds good,
fighting...
but now, if I can just take it back a bit to the previous episode, where Miyamoto Musashi just slayed 100 students of the most prestigious school in the nation's capital. In fact, in the Book of Five Rings...
But didn't he use a stick?
Not with that.
I think in that one he was using...
the interesting thing
sword,
about that
wasn't he?
fight, if we're going to go into it because it's really awesome, the interesting thing about that fight is he would fucking take other motherfuckers' swords and just kill other people with them. Because his sword would get lost. Remember when I said that his two-handed sword technique, a lot of the time he would take the wakizashi and throw it at someone's face? He was doing that. He would
kill people with sticks all the time.
He would, but not in this instance. He didn't have sticks. He had swords because there was plenty of them around. And it was time to kill because there was 100 motherfuckers coming at him.
So he chose the sword instead of the stick.
People would come at him. He'd throw swords at them. He would take their swords. He would take swords off the dead people because he would lost one. Maybe he cut someone in the gut and it got stuck in someone. So he would take their sword out of them and fight the next person. When it comes to the fucking art of killing, you take whatever it is at hand to keep fucking going.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about, guy with blah, 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 I harken back to Musashi killing 100 trained soldiers with just his fucking ambition and his willpower.
Yeah,
and
if the master's a sweet dude, he would have a sword. He would probably grab a stick also.
Well, I think at the end of the day...
Or drop a smoke bomb.
What it really... what it falls down to is the amount of fight in the person. I mean, if it's somebody who, like the type of people that get selected for special forces and shit like that, the reason that they have the selection process is because they're trying to find the people that do not have any quit inside of them.
Yeah.
If you take somebody that has no quit, which it sounds like Musashi
had no quit.
Didn't even understand the fucking meaning of the word quit. He was always going for it. And it's not just not quitting. It's having the ability to win no matter what the cost is. Which, I mean,
but no empathy.
Yeah, it very much
combat.
sounds like Musashi had that within him, which was, I'm going to win no matter what happens. I'm going to do anything that it takes to win this fight, regardless of whether or not it's considered honorable in this situation. That's the greatest weapon on the battlefield, is somebody that is not going to quit and who's going to win at all costs.
See, now it's interesting that you say that, because I will come back to that later on.
Ooh,
Yeah,
sexy.
no.
Let's get back into this, because this is a debate that I could go through all day. The efficacy of
I would love to.
of different weapons on the battlefield. Ultimately, what it falls down to is
everything is fair.
The amount of fight in the person
in the war.
within the fight.
Everything's fair in the love and the war. Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard about that. I heard somebody say that before.
I don't believe it though.
You're both Arnold now?
Oh, no,
Oh my god, my dreams have come true.
I can't start. If I've already been drinking, if I start getting into that, then I'm just
I
going
can
to be
barely
doing
read
it.
what's in front of me.
We're already...
Okay. Still,
So glad I'm not
gotta
in the
get
hot
through
seat
some
on
pages.
this one.
having racked up a body count more impressive than the seeking... Here we go.
Stinky.
Still, having racked up a body count more impressive than the sinking of the Titanic, that didn't stop
Goddamn.
the pedestrians from speculating whether or not Miyamoto Musashi could beat the impressive Sasaki Kojiro. There is some debate as to how the...
Sasaki. Put a sock in it.
John, just keep fucking plowing through it. It's not going to stop.
Yeah.
Okay, listen.
You keep
no,
plowing
but
through
listen.
it.
No, this is real. There
You want to
is
be a farmer?
there is some debate on how the two met. Some say it was a vassal of the Lord that Sasaki Kojiro was serving under. Another say it was Musashi's father, who was still alive at the time and still a renowned martial artist. As to whom actually proposed the duel,
Come on.
a lord, Sojiro, I don't know. It could be said that it was maybe just both of their pride or jealousy of the other. But the match was made and was set to be had on the island of Funejima.
Funejima. Yeah, I used to party there when I was in college. I had sex with 15 girls in one night.
I don't believe that for a second. But okay, so this fight is one of the fights that I was familiar with when you were first pitching the idea for the episode.
Yeah. It's his most famous duel. Yeah.
For good goddamn reason, in my opinion.
Well,
So-
I mean, okay. Well, the fight at Funejima was anything but
Funejima.
fun.
Oh no, it didn't sound.
No, it was
Well,
not fun in the least.
Not for one side, but please continue.
So there are different versions of how this legendary duel to this day played about. And you're welcome to pick your favorite versions of events. But my favorite interpretation is that, yes, Musashi, as per usual, showed up 3 hours late to the duel. And while being
That's
rode
his best
over...
trick, dude. It's his best move.
Dude, he's
That's
a
a
fucking
version I'm
G.
familiar with also.
While he shows up to... Not only did he show
say
up...
something fucking racially insensitive, I really want to take a drink, but
Nope.
he has a new rule.
It was your rule!
No, my rule was to.
Yeah.
But
And you said you can't do it on
You can't do it
purpose.
for no reason. He's in charge of the show. This,
Yeah,
I
this
know,
is the
this
captain
is
of the
fucked.
ship
I just
right
want
now.
to take a drink.
Coop said, and he's the charge. So now
No, you're in charge of the show.
he's in
This
charge
is-
of the show, and he said, "I'm in charge of the show."
That's why I was begging.
Yeah. Do you just want to drink?
Yeah, but there's rules now.
Okay, Asian people can't drive well. Drink.
Was that on purpose?
You
or
did it
you
on
just-
purpose, you piece of shit.
Was that on
Fuck.
purpose, or did you just think that?
He just did it. But you
No,
know what?
I was just
because he drank.
spouting a
That's
stereotype.
culturally insensitive to Mexicans, white people
Ah,
thinking they're privileged.
boom,
Come
drink.
on, let's go.
You did that on purpose too.
No, he really did it because he thinks that Mexicans are... No, he loves Mexicans. He does, but...
His best friend's Mexican.
I know, but still. You want to drink or not,
Almost
piece of
all
shit?
my girlfriends have been Mexican.
I do,
that
but I don't want to
culturally
break any.
insensitive?
I don't break
Okay,
rules.
then I won't. Let the white guys do
No,
it.
I just culturally appropriated.
Because they're privileged. Let the
Mexican
white guy
women.
do it. He's privileged.
Okay, but
yeah.
that was on
Yes.
purpose.
Fuck,
though.
I did
Yes,
it. Oh,
you did it.
No,
I didn't
that
mean
was
to.
on
I didn't mean
purpose.
to.
No,
I
you
do.
didn't.
I
Even me
promise.
too.
I promise. I
You're
promise.
smarter
I didn't.
than that.
Drink- no,
promise
I
I swear to you.
I
on
saw
this
it.
podcast being successful, I promise
saw it in
you,
your
I did not.
eyes.
I'm gonna take a bigger drink. So.
By the way, who fucking
be a
made this
fucking hour.
fucking seltzer? It tastes like some fucking
Ranch water?
the ranch water.
Oh, well, you're drinking the regular. Actually, I love ranch
I
water.
really, out of all the seltzers, I think it's the best one.
In my
But
opinion,
I'm not a
it's
fan
the
of
best
any of the
seltzer.
seltzers. I hate White Claw. I don't like any of them.
Well, I think ranch water is made from agave, so it's got a.
I think the ranch
it's
water is
got-
the best one.
It always has a little bit of a tang to it.
Yeah, it's
Joe.
got a little tang,
If you don't mind.
like a little poontang. It's got a little poontang to it. To give it a little sippy. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Now try the other one.
I love it.
And now try the ranch water here. Come on, put the ranch water
My
in your
babies,
mouth.
my babies, my
Use
babies.
your tongue.
My
Use your
babies,
tongue on
my
it.
babies.
Yeah, come here.
All right, so we're getting into
Drink
to
a little
Miyamoto
bit of this, yeah?
Musashi's
Come on, try this.
arguably most
Come on,
famous.
baby.
Absolutely his most famous duel.
Come on, baby, drink the. Hey.
Arnold, please, I would like to hear this. This is my favorite part of Musashi's life.
So, as with everything with Musashi, there are different versions of how this legendary duel played out to this day. And you're welcome to pick your own favorite version of events. But my favorite interpretation is that, as per usual, he showed up 2 or 3 hours late to the event. And while being rowed over, carved one of the wooden oars.
Wait, being rowed over? What do you mean?
He had someone.
rowed,
He
like
had a
rowing a
ferryman.
boat. Not
He had a
getting fucked.
ferryman row him over,
I mean, maybe he was.
and he took one of the oars.
Like from missionary to doggy style?
Sure.
He had.
row.
He had
Like in a
one.
boat.
No, he was fucking on his way
Hi,
over
Gigi.
there.
I thought you meant rolled him over. Like he was getting fucked.
This is
and
really hard.
This is why he's late.
What?
I thought you were saying he was fucking. He was switching positions, and then
John, no, I'm
You know what? Fuck you.
Let's
I'm drinking.
let's open it
your
up
rule. All right, rule's over.
No, it's not because
Yeah,
you
it
said
is.
something culturally insensitive.
But-
You said
but
Japanese
this-
people are gay.
but
What?
you see how hard it is to stay on track?
No, I'm on track. I'm getting it. I'm gonna ignore all
just-
that happened. We'll see if Joel edits
I think
this
he was
the
late.
way he should edit it because this will make a more compelling webisode. Here we go. This is what we're gonna do.
I think he was late because he was fucking.
I'm glad you do. Here we go. There are many different versions of this legendary duel to this day,
And
and you're
positions.
welcome to pick your fuck
Nailed your ass.
motherfucking piece of shit. I love it.
You want to be host? You gotta be able to
I'm
play ball.
here. I'm
dude.
hosting.
Let's go.
I don't want to be host. You fucking guys made me host.
You don't think that fucker was late because he was banging on the boat on the way there?
Oh, we'll get into that later.
Okay, let's go.
There are many different versions of what actually transpired on the duel of this day, and you're welcome to make your own assumptions. But
He will.
my favorite interpretation is that he showed up 3 hours late to this duel.
What's your favorite
and,
position though?
while being rowed over, carved the oar of the boatsman into his own boken.
Yes.
Yeah, that's dope.
Dude, that's my favorite interpretation too. I'm sorry, I just had to jump in and say that because this is the story that got me so fucking jacked on Musashi.
As it turns out, most people agree with this interpretation of it.
He turned the oar into a weapon.
Yes.
Oh, it's
He carved the fucking fin off and made it into a boken.
Yeah.
Because, as I mentioned earlier, Sojiro used a sword that was called a clothes hanger because it was so fucking long. It was like a foot longer than most katana.
that's the Nadachi,
And he knew
right?
that coming in.
Yeah.
Big ass fucking
Yeah.
Sephiroth sword.
Yep.
What's your favorite sexual position?
I personally like being on bottom because I'm a power bottom. If you watch the Samuel Zara episode, you remember us talking about my being a power bottom and top, but I really have true strength.
But you like
from
the woman
bottom.
on top.
I do, because it gives them a sense of power, and they just want to violate my dick.
But you know how to move
But I know
properly
how to
while you're
maneuver
down
it.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I hope I have sex
I'm
someday.
I'm such a fucking man.
Okay,
So,
so,
Musashi.
he has the oar. He carves it into
he
a
carves
heart.
the oar over. Now imagine, I described Sasaki Kojiro. He's noble. He's used to finery and riches and opulence. You have this fucking, once again, still doesn't bathe. You have this dirty scumbag showing up to the island that
Good
he
technique.
or whoever arranged a duel for you to fucking meet at 2 or 3 hours late. And he doesn't even show up with a fucking sword. He has a fucking oar that he just carved. A rudely carved oar. And he shows up. You are fucking enraged at one, having been kept waiting, and two, the fucking audacity of it all. So, one of the popular stories is that Kojiro is so pissed that he pulls his sword from the...
Drink.
Yeah, all right. I'll go back to this in a sec. One of the stories says that Kojiro is so upset that he removes its sword from the scabbard
Oh,
and throws the scabbard into the sea.
what a fucking brat, right?
But how
You're
ex-
late.
That's to
But
show.
also, how
That's to show
expensive is-
Musashi.
Already got him mind games. He's like Conor McGregor of the fucking.
Yeah, he's trying to sell.
Samurai.
He's telling Musashi that this means there will be no leaving here alive.
Oh, symbolic. I was going to
It's an
say.
attack. I didn't know that. So when he
But
threw
also,
the
how fucking expensive would those scabbards be? I mean, they're fucking carved and lacquered and.
Well, he's a man of opulence. He's a host. I mean, he's being hosted by a lord already. He's retainer for a fucking lord. He's got money. He's a samurai. He's not want for money.
Fucking rich kid. I hope he loses.
but it's a statement. If you throw your scabbard on the ground, it means that means to the death.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly what it means.
He's got to put his sword somewhere. It's not
But
going to be back in the scabbard.
But when he did this, what Musashi said was, "You must know that you're going to lose if you're going to throw your fucking scabbard into the sea, because obviously, you know you have no more use of it."
Fuck.
Sick. What a boss. That's a boss move.
Hell yeah.
Kojiro.
Mind game
Yeah.
1.
Yeah. Totally.
Showed up late, pissed him off, and then fucking insulted
Well, that's the thing. That's one of the things that was written about Musashi a lot.
That was like his move was
Yeah.
fucking with people's heads,
He
right?
was he was very he was a
Fucking-
strategist.
him. Mental warfare.
Very much so.
That's awesome.
Kojiro, hearing this, in a froth, like in a rage, charges Musashi and begins his trademark strike, overhead strike, the hummingbird strike. Oh, I'm sorry, the reverse swallow
The
strike.
upside down axe
Exactly.
kick.
Reverse swallow. I call that puking on the penis. Personally.
At the same time, Musashi performs his
Grab
own
the balls.
strike. They strike at the same time, and Kojiro's strike hits so close to Musashi that the headband he's wearing is split in half, but the skin is not severed.
No fucking way.
That is the legend. While Musashi's boken, being just a bit longer because it was carved from an oar, cracks Kojiro's skull like a walnut, killing him instantly. Now,
A stick.
now,
The greatest weapon in history.
true,
Fucking stick.
stick. You can find them anywhere.
They're literally all over the ground. I've seen it before.
No shit.
Really? A stick? You've seen a stick?
Yeah. No, like a bunch of times.
Where?
Wait, this goes.
Like,
I can make a killing on the black market.
I know why he was late.
I'll hook you up.
He wasn't done carving the fucking oar.
He wasn't.
And they were getting
was
to
like
the,
circling
they were
around.
they were getting to the island. He was like, "Wait, I'm not done carving the fucking oar. One more circle."
Just
One more circle.
One more
and
trip around the block.
fucking guy probably worked for who he was fighting. It was fucking so nervous. Wait, no, we have to go. We're gonna
The
be
weird
late.
thing is,
Nope, one
what the
more
weird
time
thing
around.
is,
It's like, fuck.
there's a weird thing that comes on later on. So, look, regardless of what actually happened, Miyamoto Musashi, shit,
Hold on. So he got so what's his name? Homeboy, Chachichi.
Sasaki Kojiro.
Yeah, Kojiro is coming in with.
I'm out of alcohol, but we have to drink for that.
Hey guys, I've really been trying to do a good episode.
Thank you,
So
Jesse.
Kochichi's
John,
coming
you've
in.
been doing great. Don't worry.
Chichi, that's twice, you piece of shit.
No, I
Drink
just-
again, come guzzle
I
a
can't
cunt.
I can't remember their fucking names. I'm not gonna try.
That's racially insensitive.
Okay, so
I'm
that's 3
insensitive.
fucking drinks that I
That's
have to take
ridiculous. No,
right now.
come on.
It's okay. You
I'm
took
trying
your,
to read stuff. Oh, God,
You took your drinks?
Okay, so the guy on the island who's Japanese has a sword that's longer than usual.
They're all fucking Japanese.
I know.
It's not Yasuke.
And Yasuke is on the boat sharpening.
No, Musashi. God damn it! That's another fucking drink,
Musashi.
Joel.
No,
Jesus.
it's not. It's not.
I'll drink for all three of us.
Fuck.
Thank you.
No, I'll drink again.
Yeah, that's right.
This is what I want to do.
This is all the
No, John, you got to run this episode.
Wait, so I'm trying to clear this up.
We're almost done. You didn't think I could do it, and here I am.
He
Oh no, I fully believe you can do it.
I love you for that.
okay. Daddy number
you're doing
1
fucking
has a
great.
sword. Daddy number 2 has a piece of wood. Daddy number 1 with the
No.
sword.
You have to say Musashi's daddy number 1.
Musashi. Okay, sorry.
Musashi has
Daddy
a,
number 2
Musashi
has
has
a sword.
wood.
Daddy number 2
Sasuke
has a sword.
has a sword that's longer than usual.
Not Yasuke. He's
Okay,
not fighting Yasuke.
let's not talk over each other. Musashi has
a piece of wood.
Yes.
That he carved out of an ore.
Sasuke has a longer than usual.
His name is Sasuke.
yeah
or Sasuke.
Sasuke Kojiro.
Kojiro. Okay, that's the guy. Yeah. The second cousin of
Oh, yeah,
Konami.
now you're remember?
Well, I can't remember him until it's said again. Then,
Well,
then it pops in my
I
head.
can't either. I was just surprised that you remembered from one of the names as opposed to the other.
I'm bad with names.
So
I'm
Musashi,
terrible with names.
yes, Musashi carved an ore. Kojiro
Okay, Kojiro
Had
Musashi.
a
Okay,
long-
I'm going to actually try to care about this.
Well, no, not
Should we-
about the names.
Not
Okay.
Kojiro Musashi. Musashi was someone different.
So Musashi is being rowed over by a ferryman.
Who probably works for the guy he's fighting.
No, because the way that it
Let him
is,
let him
there
make
is-
up his
there's
stories.
an
He's
island.
going to make them up no matter what.
People need to go back and forth, and there is a ferryman who will take them there for a certain amount of money. But because this all lies within a certain like jurisdiction of the person that Sasaki Kojiro works under, and the person who might have instigated the duel in the first place, he's going to do it for free, or if not, Musashi pays him, because Musashi also follows the way of the sword. And when you follow the way of the sword, or like most martial artists who want to attain the title of unrivaled under the heavens, they want to be the strongest.
Yeah.
Because it's not just a title, you learn about yourself. You figure out things about your opponent. You figure out things about your life. We talked about this. Fighting is more than fighting. You'll fight someone one instance, and the next instance, you're fucking buying each other drinks and you're best friends. It's hard to explain unless you've actually been in that situation. So Musashi is being ferried out to this location, and he takes one of the spare oars and starts carving it into a boken, which is a wooden sword.
All of this that I was been trying to say led to one question
Yes.
of a possible reason why it was late. This was the first time it was called a spare oar. I thought he took the oar that was getting him there. And so he took the oar that was the fuel to get him to the island, and that's why it was 3 hours late.
Well, there's two oars. That's two. And no, I mean, that's very...
No, that's...
Honestly, he could have very well done that. He could have been like...
the guy that was running the ferry was like, "You motherfucker."
He could have been.
And he was
Holy
like,
shit.
"I don't give a fuck what you have to say. I'm going to take the oar, and I'm going to make a weapon out of this.
Yeah.
You get me to the island."
Yeah.
And he
Joel,
was like,
I
"Well, how
swear
the
to
fuck
God.
am I going to get there?"
That's
I
brilliant.
swear to God, that's one of the most reasonable arguments that you've
brilliant.
ever made on this fucking
brilliant.
show before. I've been,
that
I've
very
been
well
waiting
could
to
have been
see
the
where
case.
you're going with that, and then you just made a reasonable point, which I mean, it's still
It was a spare
Okay.
oar, though, so that makes sense.
unrealistic.
But no. I say that for the sake of the story, but it very well could have been that this ferryman, Musashi, who at the time was one of the most feared swordsmen in the land.
Yeah, you're gonna
was
give him the
like,
fucking oar.
Hey, give me that fucking oar. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be fucking
Well, yeah,
done.
and
then-
imagine
and then
the
he's just
stress.
sitting there fucking paddling in the water trying to get him
like,
to
no,
row
that's
in
why
the
it's
imagine
like a
if he
rowboat
worked.
where you
If he
fucking-
worked for the
you
guy,
take one side and then you go
that
to
he
the
was
other
fighting.
side, and I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, but how big is the ferry though? Is it a little? Is it one of the is it like a banana, or is it like a big raft thing? where-
I'm going to imagine that the ferry is usually
or is it like a stick
accustomed.
push thing?
It's not the most well-traveled places, so I personally am going to imagine the ferry is small, and that with two oars you would easily be able to take people there quickly.
So it's like a rowboat.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
And with one of the oars taken away, you would still have ample opportunity to ferry your
Depending on the
patron
intelligence
across,
of the ferry master, who might have been retarded.
who might have been
like,
more than
just
me
going in
at the current
circles.
position because I've been drinking a fair bit. Thank you for all of those who've stuck around with this bonus episode of the Iconoblast Podcast with Coop and Joel and John Devilman, unfortunately.
Well, as we found from the last super long episode, people stick around for longer than you would imagine.
All right.
Okay,
Well, I love them all.
back to the battle.
I do too.
Sorry, the ore thing was stuck in my head, and I just wanted to give a moment to the captain of the ferry, who probably was killed for showing up late, or something worse, and no one cares about him. But let's go back to the battle.
Some of the legends will actually add that Musashi showed up late because he knew that once he got there, the sun would be setting behind him, which would blind.
Give him the advantage.
Exactly. Some say...
Do you think that the thing that he carved became the Spear of Destiny later that they used in Wolfenstein, the
Oh,
game?
most definitely.
That was the spear that killed Jesus.
Oh,
Some say
thank you.
he showed up late because he knew Kojiro, who was a popular swordsman at the time and had many followers, who that would be there to ensure their master's safe return, would want revenge. So he planned it so that after he killed Kojiro, he could leave back on the ferry as the low tide was setting and no one could follow him. But regardless of what actually transpired, Miyamoto Musashi, after that particular time, after killing Sasaki Kojiro, would not kill another man because he said, I would never want to rid the world of another artist such as that.
Oh.
He had many duels after that, but none
He never
of them
killed anybody?
were to the death.
He became like Ip Man.
So he was so affected by that death that he never wanted to kill anybody else after that?
A lot of the stories that talk about Miyamoto Musashi
Musashi.
talk about a
Drink.
Musashi who introspectively felt the life that he was severing from this plane. He understood the importance of life and the importance of taking it. When you're young and brash and want to make a name for yourself, sometimes you do flippant things, sometimes you do things that in our later years we realize are wrong. Where
Sometimes you killed over 100 people just because you're angry and trying to prove a point. We've all been there.
yeah, I've woken up like that before. When he came face to face with Sasaki Kojiro, he saw within him a kindred spirit who not only understood the way of the sword, but walked it the same way that he did. For those who have experienced life or death situations, there is a certain experience that it's hard to explain to other people. I've been there a multitude of times, and I've had situations where other people's lives were in my hands, and I've done everything in my power at that time to ensure that they could continue living. When you have that kind of, and it sounds terrible, but that kind of power, but it is a power.
Yeah.
When you have this immaturity and you don't see that as like a saving grace for others, if you don't see that as like a way for you to be philanthropist to others, and you just go about doing what you will, killing, as Musashi did, with these 100, at this time it's probably like 150, 160 people. And then you have that, I don't know, that snap in you where you realize, oh shit, humans are humans. We're all one. The universe, etc. That may have been a blow to him. And when he...
it doesn't necessarily mean that it was wrong that he was doing that. It just means that he went to the next phase of life.
Well, the reason I think that it wasn't wrong of him to do that is because so many of these other people were willing to risk their lives to find the answers that he eventually found.
He was lucky to live to the point where he found the answers.
I dare say he progressed to a point where he realized that suffering and death was not the answer, which is a long time conversation that Joel and I have been having.
Yeah.
Where once you see that for long enough, you realize
once you experience it,
the next stage is, okay, suffering is not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we progress to a situation where we make as few people suffer as possible? Mm-hmm. Or as few living creatures suffer as possible?
Yes.
I mean, that's the reason that I stopped hunting at a very young age, is I realized that I mean, I don't want to disrespect people who still hunt, because I understand the utility of it and also the sport. But it's the reason that I don't agree with veganism. Well, it's not that I don't agree with veganism. It's the reason that I can see that veganism has a higher moral standing is because you're not creating suffering anywhere. Ideally, you're not creating suffering.
Well, if you don't
anywhere.
care about plants, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't care about plants, which I mean, there's research that shows that
Plants are assholes.
Well, I mean, plants are definitely fucking assholes. But there's research that shows that plants give off pheromones, or
We just don't understand their feelings, so it's okay to kill them.
Yeah, from our current understanding. But yeah, I mean, I think that the most logical series of events that you can go through is, ultimately coming to the point where you're like, if anything's suffering, that's not necessarily a good thing.
Right. Yeah.
I can't disagree with that. Getting to that point is the journey you have to take, though.
It's really difficult, and for someone who dedicates his life to the sword or any martial arts, it's really hard to grapple with, because most people on the outside would see that as the ultimate goal, whereas people who are masters, and I'm not trying to disparage others who haven't realized this in themselves, but the martial arts ultimately are trying to figure out yourself and your relationship to other people.
Yeah. If martial arts succeeded, nobody would be killed anymore, and everyone would fight each other and learn the lessons of combat without having to die.
Yeah. So, if we go back to Musashi, in his later years, he actually went into service of the Hosokawa clan, which was who actually put up Kojiro. And he taught the sword there. He adopted 3 sons. He taught himself...
Didn't make any of his own?
No.
That we know of.
He taught himself calligraphy, sculpture, and architecture, which he put into use by developing land, painting pictures, and obviously sculpting sculptures.
What?
Yeah.
You sculpt sculptures?
That's how you do it.
Wait, what do you mean?
Are you doing a Joel thing right now? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I think so.
Don't try so hard.
All right.
Just let it happen. Toward his waning years, he retired to a cave where he wrote
The lyrics to every Limp Bizkit song that you've heard today.
Joel does it so much better.
He retired to a cave where he wrote the Book of Five Rings, his most influential work to this date, that is still studied by martial artists and businessmen some 400 years after it was written. He died of thoracic cancer at the age of 61. But his legacy and his legend
And his lyrics.
That's Kid Rock. That's not Limp
Well, he
Bizkit.
also did the Kid Rock lyrics.
Oh.
and his lyrics will live on forever. And this being the Iconoblast Podcast,
Did it all for the nookie.
now it's time we start tearing that legend down.
Oh, shit. All right.
Here we go.
1. The two-handed sword technique.
Don't take this away from him.
My aforementioned
Okay, now you're sounding
statement.
like
Rip
Coop.
it away from
Now
him.
you're standing. Now
Rip
you're.
it away
Now you're
from
like
him.
Coop. You ruin all my fantasies.
My aforementioned
Exactly.
statement of how people think Musashi was the first to use two-handed swords is true, because they did think that, the fools. However,
Fucking idiots.
God damn it.
fighting with the katana in the right hand and the wakizashi in the left hand is not unique to the Nichiren Ichi Ryu. The Tenshin Shoden Katori Shinto Ryu was founded in 1447, whereas Miyamoto Musashi wasn't even born until 1584. Over a century later. But furthermore, fighting with two swords wasn't even unique to Japan. European fighters were fighting with a poignard, or a parrying dagger, in their offhand, as well as a sword in their main, for many years before that.
Been saying it for years.
Musashi's
It was
book.
the first for them though, in their little town, in their bubble.
Musashi's Book of the Five Rings. Musashi's exploits are immortalized in countless manga and movies, including Ije Yoshikawa's 1935 novel Musashi, which has been translated into over 14 languages, with the English version also having sold more than 170,000 copies. Many people think that this is a biographical telling of Musashi's life, but this work is almost entirely one of fiction.
Boom. Called it.
Yet, people hold it to a gospel account of the real-world events that
Kind of like the
surrounded this
Bible.
mythical figure. The duels. Japanese historians are still trying to pore over the validity of Musashi's account of winning 60 duels, since the only account of them was written in the Book of Five Rings.
The book that Musashi wrote?
Indeed. The second most duels being only a little over half that by Ito Itasai, who won 32
Itasai.
or 33 duels.
It was probably 32.
Many of the people listed are possibly not even real, including Baiken, the chain and sickle user.
No,
Oh, wait. Fuck.
No,
Now
don't do
I'm
that.
bummed out about that.
don't do that.
Some people argue that Musashi was, above all else, a great self-promoter, and, like Floyd Mayweather, only chose fights he
That
knew he could
was
win,
gonna win. God damn it.
and would benefit his
We don't know
brand.
this is true.
Don't break my fucking
Declining,
This is okay. Now you're on this side.
and that he declined many fights that he didn't think he could win.
heart. Fuck.
Let's go into his duel with Kojiro.
Yes.
The Hosokawa family, for whom Musashi took refuge from after the event, they have since released verifiable
Stinky.
family documents that paint a very, very different picture of the poetic version that is retold in many stories and shows and comics. Musashi and Sasaki were to meet on the island alone. Yes, both by fame had large numbers of junior proteges. And yes, it is true that Musashi arrived late and broke with tradition and rushed Sasaki with an oar, striking him. But what followed is
Could possibly maybe be something else, kind of like in my movie Total Recall, where there was time travel and the manipulation, and sometimes in this theory and that theory, different things would happen. Okay, so, I continue.
Right?
what happened is he maybe struck Kojiro unconscious, but his followers, secreting themselves within hidden places throughout the island,
Of
then
course.
exposed themselves and assassinated Kojiro for political means.
So they flashed him and then they stabbed him?
Revealed themselves? Their genitalia?
Their genitalia. They all had
That would
wood.
distract me, too.
They all had
Well,
wood.
yeah.
And they called that wood bogan.
They called it the penis. It must have been pretty funny with all the Japanese people where the balls were more visual than the penis.
God damn it. All right.
You did
Drink.
that. I know you did it on purpose, but I'll give it.
Yeah,
I'll give it to
drink.
you. That was a good one.
Fuck, so he might
So-
have died that day.
Well, here's the other deal. Some events say that it was all a planned sneak attack from Musashi, who knew that Kojiro was a better swordsman than him and wanted to ensure that he would win.
So he carved the oar so he knew it was longer.
No, he just snuck attack.
So there was
Flat
never
out
a
fucking
duel.
cheated.
There was never a duel. He just tried to show up on him and try to kill him.
That's one of the stories that has
Okay.
come out because of the papers of this family. And then they say that fearing retribution, after the pivotal encounter, Musashi left and fled to the Hosokawa clan because
Wait, so if the other guy lived, what happened to him?
he didn't live.
Well, in the one case, he struck him and knocked him out, and then his
But-
boys were like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
No, his boys killed him.
So then they both died.
No. Musashi didn't die. Okay, let me explain this again. One of the events says that when Musashi arrived,
He just knocked him out.
He did strike him down, and he knocked him out.
And then his boys, the guy that got knocked out, his boys were like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Right.
Or killed him.
Right, because he did respect Kojiro so much, and he didn't want to do anything to take this artist away from the timeline.
So he just knocked him out and was like, "Let him live."
But there's other reports that say that it was all a planned attack, and Musashi's followers were waiting in the reeds for that pivotal moment when they could strike. They cut Kojiro down, and then Musashi could escape, saying that he was the victor.
Oh, it was Musashi's boys.
Yeah, it was Musashi's boys.
I didn't know he had boys.
Well, at this time, he was teaching the sword, and he was famous. He was famous, so a lot of people.
Okay,
were
that's where I
following
got confused. I thought it was homeboy that got knocked out. His boys were hiding.
him.
That was where my confusion
Well,
was.
that's. We'll see. This is the moment of contention, and this is why on the Iconoblast podcast we talk about things that we are not necessarily sure of, or things that may be suspect. There's also talk that both masters, because at the time both are renowned.
Both masters had boys.
Exactly. And what's reported is that both masters said to their boys, "Yo, this is a fucking duel of honor. Don't fucking step in. We're going to handle this like men." Regardless, my account, and this is the one that I choose to believe,
Okay.
regardless of all of what, like the sun behind him, carving the fucking oar into a boken, all that, I choose to believe
I also have a new idea what happened after you.
that after Musashi, and it says that the duel took about 10 minutes, which is ridiculous.
That's a long time. If
That's
you
a
just hit him in
fucking
the
long
head.
duel. But at the same time, a lot of the times, you
It's a
size
verbal duel for a
you
while.
size a person up. You look at them and imagine
Finding your range.
one, yes, life or death. When you're at that moment, that pivotal moment, and I've been there, and I'm not trying to brag, when you are facing death, your whole body reacts in a certain way where it's almost as if everything is open to you, and it's because your pupils dilate, the little fucking fur on your face or wherever in your body, it spreads out. Everything is open for attack, and because of all this, you somehow your hearing is more accurate. You're more aware
all
of
your senses are heightened.
Yeah, it's heightened, so you're aware
Your
of
body's
everything around
performing
you.
at 110%.
200%.
Well, it depends on your body.
If you
Steroids
got your
all
body,
you
yeah,
get to
you could take for another year for train, but that train too.
Yeah.
But so he comes here. Everyone's heightened senses. It's a battle for the ages, and that's why I think it's one that goes down in the ages. Like, to this day, it's one of the most talked about duels.
Yeah, you knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a famous duel, and it is the last duel that Musashi fought with the intent of killing. And I honestly believe, if I respect, like, as a martial artist myself, if I respect the fuck out of somebody and I'm going to fight them because they're the best, like, I'm the best, which I've never been, I'll never be, and they're the best.
Yeah.
If we fight
Yeah.
to the death, quote fingers, somehow I get the advantage, I'm not going to strike past that point of, because I know.
But you know, it's like in all the
Yeah,
every
yeah, I've got
martial
it.
arts film. You stop the blade right by their eye.
Yeah,
Like,
because
I had you.
Yeah, you're like, yes, because that's walking the path. That is what you're trying to find out, because you're testing yourself against other people who are also testing themselves. It's how you find out intrinsically who you are, who they are. It goes beyond that. It goes into the universe. It goes into all kinds of fucking weird spiritual shit that I can't explain.
Yeah.
As being a martial artist myself, so I honestly think, yes, it's a possibility that he struck him down and he was like, I respect you like a motherfucker and I'm out. That's it. And other people could have come in and slain him, because as we go further into this, there is political means for the Hosokawa.
Yeah, politics always fuck everything up.
It has a lot to do with a lot of this shit. Japan has just been unified. There are power grabs all over the fucking place.
Yeah. Big picture, fucking little picture up.
It's true. But
Wait, can I give my theory of what happened?
yeah.
So I think they had their fight. Daddy came in hot, hit him over the head. Right? Knocked him out.
Yeah.
Was going to go for the killing blow. Bunch of his disciples jumped out of the bushes. And he was like, "Oh fuck,"
To stop him.
to stop him from killing him. And he was like, "Oh shit." Jumped back on the ferry
Because he was afraid of his disciples.
and was like, "Get me out of here." And then the guy on the ferry was like, "You cut my oar."
I've only got one oar.
And then they killed him on the ferry, and that's when he found
Killed who on the ferry?
Our boy.
Musashi?
Yeah.
Musashi
No,
didn't
he-
fucking die on the ferry.
Yeah,
He
he
died
died
on
of
the
old
ferry.
age.
He died on
No,
the
no,
ferry.
no.
No, he died on the ferry.
Oh,
now.
okay.
This is the welcome to the Iconoblast Podcast, where we just rewrite history the way that we see fit.
Yeah.
Apparently, Miyamoto Musashi died on the ferry.
He did.
So you can go
And
fuck
then
your
his-
fucking fuck
Sorry.
self.
But it's kind of like the Dread Pirate Roberts. The Sons kind of made a book about him, talked about him, pretended to be him, and history goes on. And they kept his name alive.
I actually
Lied and say he won.
I appreciate that you said that, because we'll get into that in just a second. Now, if you allow me, after the
Please
duel,
continue.
whether Sojiro was knocked out or was slain, one report says that Miyamoto Musashi jumped back onto the ferry and had himself rowed across the lake for fear that Kojiro's followers were going to try to take revenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it was low tide, which is very strategic of someone. I'm drunk. I could tell that from the last bit. That was really drunk.
No, I am too. Just go with it.
Hey, thank you for tuning in for the bonus episode of the Iconoblast Podcast.
Please,
This is John Devilman.
Comment, rate, and review on iTunes.
Comment, rate, and review on iTunes.
It's a bonus episode. It's fine.
It is then said that Musashi's story was then later romanticized to fuel the pre-war movement of the World War II Japanese fighting movement as an example of the dominant Japanese martial spirit.
Whoa, that's cool.
Musashi's
it's fucked up, but
fame,
that's interesting.
Musashi's fame and skills were inflated to meet the public need at the time and never brought into question. Still,
Thus causing
Kamikazes.
exactly right. That is exactly right. Imagine yourself.
I respect him.
No. Imagine.
Badass.
Imagine.
I don't like that they
You're
what they
drunk
did,
as
but
fuck. You're on LSD or whatever the fuck have you, and you're told by your general, who is then a lord,
yeah.
that you are on the same par as this motherfucker.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
But still,
because it was true.
exactly true.
Or it
super
wasn't.
true.
Well, according to Imperial Japan.
At the need.
Yeah.
At the fucking
At the
need.
need
At
of
the
Imperial
time.
Japan.
But at the time. But if we want to get into World War II, we can go into some fucking deep dive shit about how Americans were selling fucking weapons to the Germans.
oh, yeah.
And, this is a whole fucking ordeal. But I don't want to do that.
We all try to win.
Because we're talking about Miyamoto Musashi right now. There are claims that this clan who released the papers, the Hosokawa clan, lied about the documents, actually having more of a sinister hand in what befell Kojiro. Because if perhaps they were the ones who came out of the brush and killed Kojiro, then why would they actually admit to doing any kind of wrongdoing? You want to, obviously, if it's your clan papers, you're not going to incriminate yourself. It also doesn't stand to reason why the Hosokawa, of whom Sasaki was actually a retainer to, would then allow Musashi to take refuge with them after the duel if he had removed an esteemed figure of their clan by means of skullduggery. That makes absolutely no sense. Like, oh, you fucked over our boy? Yeah, why don't we fucking
Stay with
employ
us.
you? Yeah, come live with us.
Wait, that's what happened?
Yeah. This is why you
So
have to
there's
look
so
at
many
this story
fucking- there's
with
so
a
many
critical
versions.
eye.
Yeah.
It can be said that most of the rumors and speculations by people trying to defraud Musashi are just that. Rumors and speculation. It's hard to actually say what happened. Definitively, at least. Because this all happened 400 years ago. What we do know is, no matter what the story, Musashi was a very skilled swordsman whose fighting spirit and story inspires people to this very day and probably will for generations to come.
Lower. There it is. Golf clap.
Only a golf clap,
Well,
really?
because it's blowing out the. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, gentlemen.
And with that, being the substitute host with the Iconoblast Podcast, I wish you all farewell, where, if you'd like to take it up. Coop's
Okay,
What,
I think Coop's hammered.
No, I'm fucking exhausted.
Oh, God. Well, it's over. Okay.
I mean, it was really exhausting listening to this fucker talk the whole time. I understand
No,
how
I
you feel.
All right. On that note, I would like to thank you all for joining into the Iconoblast Podcast, where we take history, where we take leaders in history and we tear them down to their most basic elements.
Yeah.
This was an episode about
We take a look at the
Musashi-
public facades.
yeah.
You know, you did good.
Miyamoto Musashi, who was one of my fucking heroes, and I literally just tore him down in front of you.
On accident, because you had to do a little bit more research to be on the show, and you found out that your hero, might not have been the hero he was. But according to what I read, it might be that he was a hero, and it might be that he wasn't. There wasn't any affirmed either way.
It's true.
Because it seemed like maybe these opposing families were like, all right, you didn't lose. Let's make up a story. We got the more money. We'll make it seem like he fucking cheated.
But
it could have gone both ways.
What I think is the important thing to take from this story is that Musashi's story influenced me from a youth. It shaped me. It molded me into who I am today.
And to give us positive?
I most definitely do think it was positive.
Okay, so regardless of what's true or false, it still helped you as a man.
I think that's one of the important things about these tall tales. If they help to further you, if they help to further you in your goal or your path along life, then what's to say necessarily that they're evil? If intrinsically they help for the greater good. And that's the
True.
Iconoblast Podcast. I thank you all for joining us. I am joined with
Matt Cooper
and
Joel Banner.
And I'm John Devilman.
Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Follow us on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also follow us on YouTube on the Drunken Bros History channel with our co-team, Softcore History. They're also awesome. They actually do the same thing we do, except better. You can also, if you want to send us an email or have any ideas for episodes, email us at iconoblastpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at Iconoblast. Follow me on Instagram at Joel R. Benner. Follow Coop at Coop Nukem. And follow Devilman at John Devilman on Instagram. He's a badass artist, tattoo artist. Also a sexual deviant. If you DM him right now and you live in the Austin area, he will fuck you. Whether you're male, female, trans,
I would have liked this.
Dog, cat, it doesn't matter what it is, he'll fuck you.
It could have been so good. He was doing so good up until the end.
All right, well, that's it for this episode of the Iconoblast Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. And Coop is reminding you to never take anything at face value.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Are you that fucked up?
Are you that hammered?
No, I'm fucking exhausted right now. I can barely keep my fucking eyes
That's what
open.
drunk people say.
Dude, hey. Thank you for sticking around.
I've been working on it. No, I've like gotten 2 hours of sleep per night for like
since
2
you got the
weeks
cat?
now. No, since I've
That
been,
cat is a
well,
beauty.
This is no.
We're still recording.
She's a little fucking angel. This is off record for sure because I've been losing sleep because I've been
Let's cut
stressing
then.
out about this shit.
Yeah, cut. Thank you so much. I love you all.
Smoke weed.
Or don't. It's up to
Go
you.
ahead, stop or record.
I don't know.
Stop.
Hey, I love you, everyone. GG.